Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast. I'm going to get straight into this week's episode because we started our Olympic previews last week talking about the swimmers under the radar heading into Paris, and this week's episode is going to be as much discussion as last week's podcast, maybe even more from myself and Dan, as we look at the world records that we think are likely to fall in Paris.
I honestly think there are going to be a number of times, like the fastest times we've seen ever in a number of events here. I think I've got a list here. We've made the list together, and I would say we've gone bold with the number of races we've got here. But actually, I think a lot of them are quite realistic. So we'll go through them and let us know in the comments whether you actually agree with us or not. Because I honestly, there's a lot. There's a lot.
I feel like I might have to be a slight voice of reason during this podcast. It's the Olympics. Like, yes, swimming is in the fastest place it has ever been. But me and you, Dan, we went into Tokyo thinking there were loads of records going to go. But it's the Olympic Games. The world record isn't what's on the line. It's an Olympic gold. That is what matters. But the depth in world swimming does mean that you got to swim fast to win gold. It's not a case of when Phelps was here, it was him against the clock. It's not like that anymore.
Usually the times are swam in the semis, aren't they? There's
the fast ones,
pressure,
because
the
nerves do come in a little bit.
And then in the final, obviously, times are irrelevant. You just get your hand on the wall first. So I can see the times not really being hit in the finals, but in the sort of semi-finals, it can be a possibility. But we'll go through them and see what everyone thinks.
Absolutely. So we'll start this podcast with the men's, and then we will do it with the women's for the last half of the podcast. We'll swap it about from last week's episode.
Yep.
Dan, you've put these in probability order. So we're starting with the easy cells and finishing with the tough cells. Is that how you want to?
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah. So it starts easy pickings and then, slowly gets towards your sort of outsider chances, if you like.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Kick things off, men's 400 meters IM then. Leon Marchand hit this world record last year. He went a 4:02.5. You think the man can go faster again?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. Let's put it that way. I think he could find another point, at least a 0.123, something like that. He's just looking
home games.
He's looking really good. That's the other aspect of it, because it is a home games. It will go one of two ways. He'll either feel the pressure and then won't perform at his absolute best. He'll still win the event. He'll win the 400 IM, I think. But will he get a world's best time? I don't know. It will either be a world record by a substantial margin, because the
substantial margin.
What substantial margin is 0.3, 0.4. That's quite big to me. If he is able to do that with the help of the home crowd, that would be amazing. But then it could go the other way, and he might feel the pressure because of the home crowd and the pressure that they're going to put on him, because they're expecting medals from him, aren't they? So
100%. They're expecting gold medals. They're probably expecting a world record after last year's swim. Yeah. I sprinkle a little bit of warning on you're expecting a big chunk off this. That 4:02.5.
No, I'm saying the potential could be there if he thrives off the crowd.
The 4:02.5 last year took a chunk off what we thought was a previously untouchable Phelps world record. So I don't. Is there room for improvement? I think there is when you look at the splits, the freestyle leg at the end.
50 of the freestyle is where it could be, yeah.
But if you're straight away saying there's a chance of that being a world record, you might just be doubting how great that was last year.
Oh, no, God, I'm not doubting Marchand as an incredible swimmer.
I just think he can go faster still.
I just think he can knock off a couple of tenths or a couple of hundredths maybe, something like that. When I said like half a second earlier, I think that's a little bit improbable, but like a little bit taken off. Which is
not the sub 4 minutes that some people were saying.
No, that's crazy. Like, there's a lot of recency bias about that, because where's he going to find 2.5 seconds to drop?
Yeah,
like,
it's not quite there.
It's not there. It's not there. Like, I know the first 50 of the freestyle leg, there might be half a second there, but he might have to surrender that half second somewhere else to save him for that. So, but I think that's a probability.
He's got the blessing that this is day 2 of the Olympics. It is his first event up.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm being the voice of reason, but I do agree that I think he swims faster again, just purely based on how his NCAA season went over in America. He looks like he's faster than the year before. He's had another year with Bob Bowman. Yep. He's not had to rest going into a trials. No one really knows where he is, but he's doing a 4:10. It looked easy.
I honestly think he didn't taper for that at all.
No,
and he
you
went at
said-
4:10.
yeah.
So that stands him in good stead, I think.
I don't think we need to discuss this too much further. Leon Marchand, 4am. Yeah.
I think a lot of people might agree with us on that one, I think.
Yeah. Men's 100 freestyle then. This one is probably a case of strong field equals world record.
On paper, it kind of looks like a 2-horse race for this world record because you've got Panzan Lee and David Popovic. But there are other swimmers that could very easily go sub 47. Jack Alexi's right up there.
Yeah, I
Carl
think
Chalmers could very much go sub 47 for the first time. So there's a number of swimmers there to push them. But I've put this second, but I just don't know if this is about the race rather than the time, ultimately.
Yeah, I'm confident this goes in the semi-final.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
leaning
think
towards
anyone
that.
goes near it in a final.
Not in the final. There's just too much wash in the final, and there's too much pressure. And some people kind of...
It's the pressure of a final.
It is, and they get a little bit uptight and a bit tense, and maybe they go out too hard and pay for it towards the end. Or
Although, we're sitting here and 2 weeks ago, David Popovic looked untouchable.
yeah, still not quite as fast as Panzan Lee, and he did that back in Doha. So I don't know where he's at because he hasn't obviously gone quicker than that since then.
Well,
But
clearly,
I
otherwise we
think
would have heard.
yeah, of course. So
Which one of the two are you putting your mortgage on that you can't afford?
dear. I suppose it's recency bias, but I'm probably going Popovic just because he's just did that a couple of weeks ago, and he's going to have a bit more left in the tank to potentially drop it even further. But
Yeah.
Panzan Lee, I don't know where he's at since obviously Doha. So
I think these next 3 weeks I might become a bit of a Popovic fanboy and stand on the table banging the drum for... It didn't go right at the first Olympics he went to, but he was a kid.
honestly, actually, I think he performed really well at his
Yeah.
first Olympics. To go 144.4, I think it was, for his 200 free at 16.
Fourth, didn't he?
Came fourth, which was sensational. I think there was a lot of hype around him for the 100 because he was going in as fastest. That didn't quite happen because he hadn't raced Dressel at the time before. He didn't race Chalmers at the time. And, you know, when you get those big boys racing, it's a different kind of race altogether. So there's less pressure on a 200 free, if you like. But he performed really well. And I think he will perform again. Breaking the world record is what I'm going to go for
Yeah,
in the 100.
maybe I do think it takes a world record to win this if those
Possibly.
Panzan Lee and Popovic are next to each other. But they're very different styles.
Yeah, they
Very
are.
different styles, which is why I
Tactically-
can't wait for the race.
Tactically, they are polar opposite. Panzan Lee goes out quite strongly. He'll probably be half a second ahead of Popovic, roughly. And then
Yeah.
Popovic comes back like a steam train. And so they'll be, well, they are roughly there or thereabouts the same time. But then you've got Chalmers, you've got Jack Alexi, you've got other swimmers, Josh Liendo, who could very easily add their names to the list that they could break this world record.
Yeah, maybe if you're Popovic, you're not thinking world record in the semi-final because you want to win Olympic gold. And you, it's going to sound weird. I don't think you want to be in a lane near Panzan Lee or Jack Alexi because they will go out.
Well, it depends. You could ride their wave. So it depends if they manoeuvre themselves in the lane correctly. So I'm sure there'll be tactics in play. But I agree with you. I think that if there is a world record to go in 100 free, it will
reckon
probably go
semis?
in the semis. Yeah.
Okay. Men's 4x2 freestyle. Brits talking about a world record that we've been told not to talk about.
I know, but it's difficult not to, eh?
I think just on paper, right now the Brits are in a really good place. I saw Tom Dean training heading into the Olympics down at the Bath Performance Centre, which is a fantastic little video we've got out on the main channel. Go check that out. The most exciting thing for this relay, I think, is they're all in the best shape they've ever been in.
There or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll just go through the splits of the world record for them to beat it. So lead-off leg was a 144.49, then a 144.1, 145.4, 144.4. I'm confident that the whole of that relay team will go 144s.
I agree.
And I'd even hazard to say there's 143 in there.
Well, Duncan and Dino have done that before, I believe.
And then Matt's
From relay splits?
in the ascendants. Duncan looks... I looked back at some of the videos from trials that we had, and Duncan just looked incredible. When you see his back-end speed in the 100 and the 200.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Matt won his world title in a low 144, so I foresee, I don't know if this is true or not, but let's say Matt leads and he goes a similar sort of time like that, or 1:44 low,
That matches the
two. That will
world
then
record
match
split.
the world record, roughly speaking, already. And then if you got one, even two of the guys going 1:43s from a relay takeover, then you're just, let's say Duncan and Dino do that, which they have done before, and then that leaves Jimmy to go 1:44, which I believe he will do again from a relay takeover, which very much is then on the cards.
We've been hopeful for this for a very, very long time, and I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it.
I mean, we were very close. We were very close in Tokyo.
In terms of like probability, I think you've got it at the right place. I think as homers, we are going to bang the drum even louder than some.
Hype that big time, of course. Yep.
But maybe now is not quite the right time. I would just say the Brits are in a perfect spot to do that, and they're going to have competition as well, which is going to be really good, especially. Well, it's not even at the start of the race, but if you think the Americans are going to be there or thereabouts, they're going to give them a race. We saw that last time that they raced properly. It was a year ago.
Yeah.
And then you're likely to have the Chinese having a fast lead off. You're likely to have a number of the top nations in the world are going to have their fast first lead off leg, which should help kick that relay off really strong.
Yeah, and this is why I think Matt should be leading. If he's our number 1 200 freestyler right now, put him in first. Which then, give or take, should give us a lead, and then it's all about the other three bringing it home, really.
Your order still Matt, Dino, Jimmy.
Honestly, I don't think that the order really matters too much.
Yeah, fair enough.
I would still go. I'd go Matt first, and then honestly, it doesn't. It
from there
really
on out,
doesn't
you don't
matter.
mind.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's just put Duncan as anchor. I don't know.
Okay, men's 400 meters freestyle. Last Olympics, this was one of the duds of the whole Olympic Games. In terms of times, it just... Hafnui obviously stole the show in the fact that he won, but the times were just not there compared to how some of these swimmers had swam going into the Olympics. This time we've got 3 of them going in on a 3:41. The world record is a 3:40.07, so they've still got a bit to drop, and that is a Paul Biederman supersuit world record.
Yeah.
But I would hazard a guess in saying the whole world is pretty confident that one of the 3, in Lucas Martins, Elijah Winnington, and Sam Short, can go under.
Well, I mean, Lucas Martins was actually only 0.2 off at his German trials. He went 3:40.3, I think it was in the end, something like that.
So I do it on a big stage, though.
Well, that's just
this is the one.
He had no one to race against, so I don't know if that's it must have been beneficial to him at the time. But then when you're racing the 2 Aussies, who will definitely give you a race, they will not go lying down. Does that then change the mindset of the tactics that he had when he was racing in the German trials? Who knows? But I honestly think to make the podium... Oh, am I right in saying that? I was about to say, is it going to take a sub 3:40 to make the podium?
No, sub 3:41.
That's too fast, I think. I think a world record's going to happen.
Do you?
But
I'm...
Well, Sam Short, when he came on a podcast, whenever it was,
yeah, okay.
he was extremely confident. I was a little bit skeptical at the time, but then since these guys have hit the times of 3:41s, Lucas Martins 3:40, you think, oh my god, it might actually take that to do the sort of swims. Like back at Worlds, Hafnui went 3:41. Like there was a few swimmers.
I do listen back to our Elijah Winnington podcast from time to time, though, and he talks about winning the race so much. And it, like I said in the intro, I'm going to be the voice of reason here and say winning the Olympic Games is all that matters.
Oh, it absolutely does.
And the 400 freestyle is very much... It can be a race of cat and mouse.
Yeah, the distance freestyle. I don't know if I class 400 free as a proper distance race, but
I think it's there. I do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're after the world record, you do have to go out for it. So you remember when Palcineri went for the 1500 and he really kind of went out hard and then just held on. And I think Sam Short is one of those.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think Sam Short is the one,
and he'll grind it out. And then it's about whether Elijah Winnington and Lucas Martins then stay with him to then potentially overtake him on the final 50. Yeah. Who knows? But I think Sam Short is the one to threaten the world record.
Well, I reckon all 3 up there can swim under the world record. I think Sam Short is the one who forces the pace. I'm saying can. I wouldn't put money on. I wouldn't not put money on any of them. If that makes sense, breaking the world record.
If that's the case, then so when I said that
No,
it might
not
take a
all.
340
I don't
to make
think
the
all
podium.
three of them go under.
Okay, right. Okay,
I think that's nuts.
I think for me, Sam Short is the one that could break the record if it's any one of the three.
The difference from this Olympics to last Olympics is the fact that last Olympics, the guys in the middle lanes were too busy watching each other.
They
For
were
most of the race. They weren't pushing the pace on,
Yeah.
really. Sam Short is not going to watch anyone. He's just going to go.
He's just going to go. He'll lead from the front. That's what he's always done. It's just whether the other two stay on his hip, stay on his shoulder, and then potentially slingshot past at the end. I don't know. But
I'd love a little less Paul Beedman on the world records because the 2-3s stay in for a while.
it's staying for a long time.
Next up then, the 1500 meters freestyle, which is 100% a world record that needs to be erased from time and history. We won't mention his name. 14:31.02 is the time to beat. I thought before European Juniors that this was a world record that was on the card because of the competition, because of how everyone races it. We've just had a world junior record go a 14.41. I'm now even more confident.
Yeah, that was an amazing swim.
It was incredible.
Obviously, he did that very much by himself. There's no one close to him when it comes to the junior sort of level. But when you throw in the names of, your Paltrinaries or your Wellbrooks or Dan Whiffins, and then you get that youngster swimming against them, it makes it very exciting. But this world record has been, I think
It's been threatened for a while.
It has, and it's because the depth of the events. Like the world record could be hit by any of them at any given time. Like Dan Whiffin, I'd love Dan Whiffin to go and do it and win gold for Ireland. That'd be incredible. Willie, I have no idea, but it'd be great that if he could. Yeah.
We saw Paltzineri get close to it, and the way to do it is absolutely go. You can't hang around any
well, this is why I've
race.
kind of put this at the bottom of the list, because 1500, as we all know, is a very tactical race. You stay in line.
So if you want to win Olympic gold.
At the moment, it looks like it's down to the final 50 metres, and it's just a sprint for the end. So then you put Bobby Fink as your favourite, probably.
Yeah,
because
I was going to say, I don't think Bobby Fink wins the world record, but if he wins gold... No, I think Bobby Fink could win gold, but if he wins gold, the world record isn't going based on how he races.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So you do have to attack it to break these world records, but again, because it's such a tactical race, that's why it's at the bottom of the list. Whereas the 400, there's more likely because there's not enough time to put things right if you go out too slowly, if you know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love the 1500 world record to go. It's a record that definitely needs to go.
It does. I personally, I just want a Dan Whiffin gold.
And he could very much do it. He very much could do it.
It's the fastest on paper going in by 6 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, a number of swimmers could win gold. A number of swimmers could break the world record. Hopefully both happen for Dan Whiffin. But honestly, it's a great race to watch. It has been for years and years now.
I think those are our 5 shots at world records in the men's side.
Strong possibilities.
I think if we're being realistic, not very realistic, but realistic chances, those are the 5 we've got our most eyes on. We've only got 2 pairs of... We've got 4 between us. It's been a long day, if you can't tell.
I'm so tired of somebody. Having a child is very tiring.
I got to re-record that bit. Yeah. I think that is the 5 men's world records in probability order that we penciled on, Dan.
I think
we've
penciled for now.
We've circled these ones. Yeah. Outside chances, I'll go through 3.
I've written 3.
And then maybe add 1 or 2 more afterwards. So men's 200 IM because of Leon Marchand, but also Wang Sum, Carson Foster. The fight for that one is deep. The men's 200 breaststroke, simply because that went last year. Ching Haiyang, we have no idea what sort of form he's in. I presume good. So if he broke the world record last year, he could break it again.
He could.
And I'll throw in men's 50 free, just because 50 freestyle is as deep as it's been. A little bit like the 100. It's kind of a little under the radar compared to the 100. But Cam McAvoy's been getting closer and closer, and the field has caught him up, which means anything could happen.
Yeah. Let's stick with a 53. I think you've got Ben Proud, who, if he can go anywhere close to his lifetime best with 21.1, then he
could win it just swimming the time he did at Champs.
He could, actually. Yeah, well, it's one of those things. 53 either happens for you or it kind of, you're off it. And that world record is quick. I mean, you've had Dressel in the pool for X amount of years with his incredible start, and he still hasn't been able to get that world record. If there's anyone to break that world record, I would have thought Dressel from 4 years ago would have been the best chance. Hasn't gone, but he's still in the water, and he could very much still do it. He's still got that start on him. And the stroke rate that he's got at the moment is incredible. And then you've got the swim speed of Cam McAvoy, who, like you say, is getting closer and closer to the world record, which is why a lot of people think the world record is on offer, let's say. And then Ben Proud's getting quicker and quicker. So you've got the top three, and then there's other swimmers, Josh Liendo, Burkov, who could also spoil the party for those three. But yeah, I suppose it could always happen just because it's a 50.
Yeah. The other two? 2 a.m., 2 breaststroke? What's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I put 2 breaststroke just because it was done last year by Qing Haiyang. But similar to what you just said, I don't know where he's at. And will he target the 2 breaststroke more than the 100? I think he would want to beat Adam more than win the 200 breaststroke. Obviously, he wants to win Olympic gold. That's the main aim. But I think he would rather beat Adam to Olympic gold in the 100 than the 200 as being a main focus. 200 IM, I think Marshall. It depends how good he is.
That world record is
it's ridiculous. He's going to have to go 153 to break that world record, which actually makes it sound like implausible. That's not going to happen. But he got close. He's about half a second off, 0.6, 0.7 off when lifetime best. But then you got Wang Chun as well. So, yeah, one of those two potentially. But it's an outside chance for me, all 3 of those.
And I'll round things up with a very... I don't know if it's a very outside chance. The 4x1 medley relay. So the splits that America hit in 2021, the last Olympic Games to break this world record, were Ryan Murphy in a 52.3. This year, I'd say he could go faster. Personally, I think that's an okay Ryan Murphy swim, but leading off a relay, I kind of 51 point high.
He does it every time, doesn't he? Yeah. It's a 52.00 at least, let's say. Yeah. So let's make it easy for our heads here.
Michael Andrew went a 58.49. I think Nick Fink on his day is capable of that.
Absolutely. I think that's roughly the time he'll go, actually.
Caleb Dressel went a 49.0. Yeah, you probably lose some time there.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know.
But then Zach Apple went a 46.9. And I think Jack Alexi off a relay takeover or Chris Giuliano could go faster than that. So you could make up your difference on Dressel on the fly. So that one's a bit of an outside...
So you're talking within a matter of like 1/10 or something like that, where either side kind of thing. So
well, actually, I've just gone through Americans. Can I throw the Chinese into this and just say they've got a 52.0 backstroker right now in Zhou Yu. They've got a 50, let's say 7.
Relay split. He'll go 57 at least. Yeah.
57 Qing Haiyang in the 100 breaststroke. The fly is where they fall down because this year they've got. Wang, who's gone a 51.2. That's some drop off.
That's a 2-second loss. But
yeah, then they've got Pan Zhang Li to finish. So, yeah, the fly leg's the unknown there. As with America, I think the breaststroke leg's a bit of an unknown. I think that one's... It's on. I would say it's on the cards and in the outside chances.
I think I said to you before the US trials that Nick Fink could be one of those swimmers to join the elite group of going sub 58 for the 100 breaststroke. But since that trial swim... I'm now causing all sorts of questions in my head. Like 58.5, is he capable of that? He's definitely capable. So that's sort of the safe bet, I think. But obviously, when you're comparing that to Qing Haiyang, who could very easily go low 57, that's a second and a half already. Yeah. And then you're talking the Chinese with the fly, and Caleb Dressel went a 49.0. Man, that's a big deficit. I know they got Pan Zhang Li on the freestyle at the end to make up, but I don't think he makes up 2 seconds over Zach Apple's split. In fact, no, he won't.
No, but there might be a second and a half up on the breaststroke, so all he's got to do is half a second.
Yeah, well, possibly. It's an outside shot for me. It's an outside shot, but who knows?
While we're talking relays, I'll do the 4x1 just because America's the deepest it's ever been. The splits that they've got to beat are 47.5, lead off leg. They've got a 46 point high, I would say.
That was Phelps, wasn't it? I remember this was 2008. Yeah.
47.0.
Oh, God, yeah.
47.6.
Oh, okay.
46.0.
Yeah, that's the
I don't think that's the one where you don't get near.
That's the
because the final one. Okay, we've done the relays. We've gone through the outside chances. We've got the probable ones. Let us know in the comments if we are missing any on the Propulsion Swimming Podcast YouTube channel. Dan, now time to go through the women's. So on the women's side, you have given me a long list, and I will say there's a lot of probable ones here, Dan. Why so many?
I just think women's swimming is the best it's ever been. Honestly, across the board. When you've got swimmers like Summer McIntosh doing what she's doing at the moment, you've got the Australian freestyle swimmers, Molly O'Callaghan, Ariane Titmus. Shayna Jack is obviously swimming very well as well. Then you've got Kaylee McCune on the backstroke, or Reagan Smith. There are another Gretchen Walsh on the flight. There's a number of swimmers here who could very much break the world record for their respective events.
We're going to go through this, and I've looked at it. I've got a bone to pick with you, so we'll get to that at the end.
Okay.
Probability order, just like the guys. So we start off with this is ahead of a relay. The women's 400 meters individual medley. Summer McIntosh, she broke the world record earlier on in the year with a 4:24.34. She could win this by a country mile, I believe.
I honestly don't think has the gold medal been so far ahead of the silver medal ever. Like, I think she's 8 seconds clear of second.
Do you mean in this event, or do you mean...
In this event, sorry, yes.
I don't know how dominant Katinka Hosu may have been back in her time.
Yeah, I can't
or
remember.
Was she purely the 2? No, because she would have had Belmonte in the 4.
Yeah.
Okay, no, you might be right. This might be as dominant as anyone's ever been.
8 seconds is a chunk of time. Obviously, it's different for the 1500 and races like that, but the 400 IM, that's a lot.
So she's already broken this world record once this year.
Yeah.
In a no pressure environment, which is what we're saying about semi-final swims, why that can happen there. This is almost an event with no pressure because there's no one near her. You say she's 8 seconds clear. Can she break it again? I'm going to answer my own question. Yes, purely because of the changes that she's made to her breaststroke over the course of the last year, which it kind of means she's much more efficient. So her stroke rate has actually decreased.
Yeah, longer
but
glide.
She's a lot more efficient through the water, and in a way, she's got more energy for the freestyle leg at the end, which is a strength of hers as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's strong across the board, apart from, the breaststroke is the weakest one, which she's clearly put work into, and that's the reason why she hit a world record already this year. And with another block of training, because the underwaters off the turns as well has definitely increased as well, or definitely improved.
Because it's improved from nothing.
For
something.
Yeah. And because the 200 fly, she's a great 200 flyer, she can easily go through the first 100 fly, like, super smooth, super easy, and still knock out a very good split, which then leads into the backstroke and then an efficient breaststroke, and then her freestyle is obviously very strong. I wouldn't say she takes off a bit like Mashal, really. I don't think she takes off a massive amount, but it's just enough to give her a new PB and therefore a new world record.
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk too much about this. I think we've done a video on it earlier on in the year. I think this is... it's been on the cards for a little while. Yeah. The women's 4x2 free relay. This is another one. I don't know how much we need to discuss about it, given the strength and depth of Aussie 2 freestyle. But I will read you the splits that they've got a better, Dan. Because
okay, here we go.
They're good. Molly O'Callaghan led off the team in a 153.6. Well, we know she can go on 152.4.
Yeah.
So you're up by a second, 0.2.
Yeah.
Shayna Jack's gone a 155.63 in the world record swim. I think if we put the third Aussie to compare up against Shayna Jack's time, it's Lani Panister, who's gone a 155.5. So you're up 0.1. So far on this world record, you're up by 0.13. Third swimmer, Brianna Thossell, 155.8. I think she's the fourth Aussie right now on paper. She's gone on 5.7, so she's again 0.1 up. And then you finish on the world record swim with Ariane Titmus going at 152.4, but she's just swam a 152.2 from a flat start. It's on the cards purely because of the first two swimmers going 152s. And then what happens in the middle is anyone's guess. They could put anyone, really, from a number of names in the middle there, Australia.
I'm assuming they will take like 5, maybe even 6 swimmers, and they'll put them in the heats. Whoever swims the fastest will then swim the final. That's probably the way.
Kaylee McEwen's got a pretty fast time as well. Yeah.
Yes. Oh no, definitely. Yeah. Emma McKeon could swim it, but I don't think she will. Yeah. But I had a tough decision when I went in the probability order whether the 400 iron was more likely or this 4x2 free was more likely. It's kind of the same, to be honest with you. It's the same mentality as what you have. Titmus and O'Callaghan are streets ahead of everyone, especially even their own times from their world record swims, really. when you add in relay takeovers as well, like you could easily see 151s. They might even do that in the individual 200 free. They might. They could do that in the individual. They could.
They could. Oh,
But
it just sounds mad.
From a relay takeover, it's very possible, isn't it?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a world record that will definitely go.
Yeah, the first two on here are definites. It's not even probable.
Yeah.
On to the next, the women's 4x1 medley relay. I wouldn't have put this on here at the start of American trials.
No, not me.
But Regan Smith's gone a world record in the 100.
Gretchen Walsh.
Gretchen Walsh has gone a world record in the 100 fly.
Yep.
Lily King is there or thereabouts, and her world at the time in the world record swim's not her fastest. It was a 104.8. That's all right.
Yep.
And Simone Manuel or Kate Douglas or whoever on the 100
Free. Yep.
is going to be there or thereabouts. The biggest drop in this is what Gretchen Walsh has done. So
Yes.
from the world record swim that they've got, where they went a 350.4, she's a second faster than the fly leg, which is nuts.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge.
Then you don't even look at Regan Smith's improvements. You don't even look how Kate Douglas can compare to Simone Manuel's 51.8. It's everywhere else they just need to swim the same, and Gretchen Walsh needs to do what Gretchen Walsh does. And this goes.
Basically, if they're on PB, if they're on lifetime best, they'll get the world record.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to Lily King a little bit. I know the split that she did was 64.8, but she can. I think when the Olympics roll round, she always performs, and she'll go at least a 65 low, which is then more than good enough for this world record. If you've got Gretchen Walsh going a low 55, maybe even a high 54, which sounds mental to me again, and then you've got Regan Smith, who could potentially go a high 56. Yeah, women's swimming is going through the roof at the moment. So I think this world record is not guaranteed because relays. Anything can and does happen, but
sure.
Yeah, I think there's a strong possibility for this one.
I think this is. Oh, it's as sure a gold as the 4x2 for the Aussies now.
I would agree with you. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
maybe the Chinese, but I
that's
don't
not
think
quite the
anyone's
strength.
getting near Gretchen Walsh.
No one's really close apart from the two other, but they're American. So yeah.
We've already talked about two of these girls so far. The women's 200 metres freestyle, Molly O'Callaghan and Ariane Titmus both went under the previous world record at the Australian trials. I think we're both pretty confident that they will give each other an incredible race again. No one else anywhere near them.
No, they're not. No. I said to you before that they have the potential to go 151. That just seems outrageous. When Pellegrini went on 152.9, I thought that was outrageous. And then these girls could potentially go 151. It's mental. Honestly, it's mental.
The improvements women's swimming has made over the past 18 months?
Honestly, it's exploded.
It's nuts. I don't get it.
I don't know what's happened.
Some of these times, like the Pellegrini world record was an unbreakable supersuit record.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, no, they've blown past that.
And now it's like small fry now compared to what these girls are doing. It's honestly, it's mental. I don't know who is going to break the world record in this 200 free because it looks like they're going to keep sharing it between them. But I think there's a possibility that they're going to have to break the world record to win gold, I think.
Yeah, they're just going to drive each other on. They both swim it. They both swim it as Pellegrini used to race it, which is negative split.
Yeah.
Which is not how the guys race has traditionally been swam fast. It's a very different tactic, but those are the ones who are swimming it fast.
I think that seems to be the best way to do it. You look at Popovich in the 200 free, Matt does it in the 200 free, Tom Dean does it in the 200 free. He's come back quite strong. Duncan does it in 200 free. It's one of those races that you have to have a strong pace at the start now, but not blow yourself up, and then don't go too slow because then you leave yourself too much to come back. But it seems to be the tactic that is working for the event of 200 freestyle right now. And when you've got Dean Boxall in charge of these two girls, I know they do slightly different training, but the tactics look as though they're roughly kind of the same.
Yeah. Outside chance, gonna go. I'm not sure how. I'm not 100% this is going just because of the race. The race is what, the race is what matters.
Yeah, again, it could be a semi-final thing, but I don't think it will be. I think they're so far ahead from the rest of the world that they could probably just go 155 and just cruise through to the final. Middle lanes as well. Yeah. So if the world record is going to go, it's going to go in the final. Yeah, but then of course it's a pressure environment, so who knows?
Sticking with Ariane Titmus in the 4-3. The issue here might be she's got no one to race.
Which is weird to say when it was
Given
labelled the
state
race of the
of-
century literally last year. When you've got Katie Ledecky.
Saying she's got no one to race might be a bit harsh on Katie Ledecky and Summer McIntosh. They're both incredible swims, and they're both incredible swimmers, and there's no reason for them to have shown their hand yet this year in this event, really.
Yeah, I think if anyone's going to challenge Titmus for this gold and the world record potentially, it'll be Summer McIntosh. I don't know.
We disagree.
But you
so much on
disagree.
this.
You think it's going to be Ledecky.
Yeah.
And then I saw someone in the comments actually saying that Fairweather might actually win silver. So, if that does happen, then that's a huge turn up for the books, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think Titmus will go a world record, which therefore means she's going to get the gold, unless someone else beats her to the world record again. But will Summer McIntosh or Katie Ledecky or Fairweather give her a race?
Voice of reason. I don't see any reason she needs to break the world record to win an Olympic gold.
No, true. But she'll obviously want to swim as fast as she possibly
yeah, okay.
can.
But
She
if
was only
she
100
knows
froth,
she's got
wasn't
the,
she, in
if
Aussie
she knows
trial?
she's got the battle later on in the week with Molly in the 2-3.
Well, it might end up being a battle. We never know.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
All
a
right.
big race. It's
Valid,
a huge race.
Valid. All of these so far are pretty much, they're quite hard for me to argue either way. Yeah. So this is the first bone I've got to pick with you. I would have put the 100 back higher. The 100 back between Regan Smith and Kaylee McEwen. They're both streaks ahead of Kylie Mass and Burkhoff, who are two outstanding backstrokers.
Very much so.
But this is one of the rivalries in world swimming for me right now. Both of them better this world record all the time. Regan Smith has done it for the first time in a fair few years, actually. She's got this world record. It's been a while.
Yeah.
We'll give a prediction who's going to actually break this world record, or who's going to win this race and potentially break this world record in a future podcast. I'm not going to do this here. I know I've got my opinion on it, and we've spoken so many times about it in the past.
Yeah.
But I don't see why neither of them would not break it again.
Yes,
You're going to have to argue pretty strong in the comments if you don't think this world record's going.
This is where, I said that a lot of world records could have the potential to be broken in the women's side. And honestly, from the list we've gone through, it's quite hard to challenge the fact that these records won't go.
Yeah, okay. I do get you.
Honestly, it's crazy. That's why I'm struggling with the order. Like, maybe the 400 free should be higher than the 200 free, or the 100 back should be even, ahead of the 4x1 medley. Honestly, it could be almost in any order.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
The 100 back is not a shoe-in, because then... But it's one of those races that can easily be... The world record would easily be hit in the semis, just to make sure you nail a middle lane. But those two girls are so far ahead that it's... Yeah. They're extremely strong.
I do think it's nailed on for the final, personally. Even though 57.1 is fast.
That's crazy fast. Do you reckon a sub 57 will happen?
Yes.
And can they both do it?
Yes.
So do I. So do I.
Let's quickly move on before we give any predictions away. We'll do that one the week out from the Olympics. 200 meters backstroke. I don't think this is such a competition.
No.
But Kaylee McEwen is, you say so many times, this is the event you think she's best at. She's got to go faster than a 2:03.1, which again is rapid.
Yeah, and then give or take, she's going to have to go 2:02 to get a world record, effectively.
Yeah.
But every time she swims, she's like a tenth off. So she's always there on her lifetime best.
Even when she's not tapered.
Yeah, and then doesn't quite find that extra tenth, 2 tenths to go and dip below it. Will she be challenged? Obviously, Regan Smith is the one to challenge for that position, but she didn't.
I think less of a challenge. She went
yeah,
at 2:05.
2:05. That's a distance off what Kaylee did. But Kaylee's good at hitting world records from swimming by herself anyway. Like when she swims in Australia, she's always by herself. In fact, she's by herself most times she swims in the backstroke events because she's so far ahead. So I don't think that will be an issue for her. I think it's more likely that she'll break it in the 100 than the 200.
Yeah, I get that because the 200 is an underrated hard event. And that's tough.
Yeah,
and
that was a tough
2:03.1
thing
is
to order.
fast.
Yeah.
So I get why you've put this below. Women's 100 fly then. Gretchen Walsh has literally just broken this world record. I kind of agree with you putting it down in the probability just because that swim was quality.
It was very good, wasn't it?
And she also didn't improve on it in the final.
Yeah, well, only by like a tenth, 1500ths or something like that. So
Yeah.
it was quite close, but still didn't quite back it up the same speed. She'll be challenged for that world record, I think. Tori Husk has a very good shot. I mean, she was very close to Social's
That was my
best
bold
anyway.
prediction, wasn't it? Going into US trials, I was like, Tori Husk will break the 100 fly world record. I'm like, it's gone, but not the person I
The
said.
wrong person, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. 100 fly challenge-wise, it will come from Tori Husk because I don't think there's any other women
Sangnify?
in the... Oh, maybe Sangnify. Actually, you're right. Because she's gone 55 this year, hasn't she?
This season. She went end
This
of last
season,
year at
yeah.
Asian Games.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So I think this has a good chance of an American 1-2, if I'm honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Will the world record go? I think it has to be likely just because it's recently been hit. So Gretchen could very much go at an even lower 55, and could she branch into a 54? These times sound mad
Some of
to me.
these times,
Yeah.
I don't believe what we're talking about here. We're going to sound like... Either we sound like idiots or suddenly swimming really is that fast. And I think it really is that fast.
I think it's honestly this, especially on the women's side, it's just flying at the moment, and Gretchen Walsh leading the way for the 100 fly at the moment, which obviously will help when it comes to the medley relay, which we touched on earlier.
Now, end of your list on the women's side of world records, Dan, is the 4x1 freestyle. So I'm going to go through the times again that have got to be hit for this to be broken. And I think this is tough. I actually think this is quite hard. Lead off leg, 52.08. Second leg, 51.69. 52.29. 51.9. So you've got two 51s in there.
That was when Emma McKeon was absolutely flying as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but actually Shayna Jack was the faster leg out of all of them.
Oh, was it really? I
Yeah.
can't remember now.
So
Wow.
you're looking at probably the Aussies to break this world record, but I don't think they get down this low. That is fast. I think they're more interested in beating the Americans because that is a race that they've got on their hands.
Yes, I think so, yeah, especially with Kate Campbell saying what she always says about the Americans, which makes it very...
It's
very
box
entertaining.
office, but I'm not sure
yeah.
if anyone in... I'm not sure if that helps the sport of swimming the way she's going about it. Like, there's being competitive, and then some of the comments are... Like, it wasn't, to be fair to her, it wasn't her.
No, I know.
But some of the presenter comments, I just raised eyebrows and was like, would you say that about anyone in real life? Is that really how Australian culture is? And I don't think it is.
Especially when they're talking about Michael Phelps.
That's what I mean. I was just like,
who's
you
put
wouldn't say that
swimming...
about a normal person. Why are you saying that about Phelps?
Yeah, I mean, he put swimming on the map. Like, it's not that's not someone you really insult, and that's what it was. It was an insult.
it
You
was,
don't really
it was.
do that. So yeah, kind of weird.
Anyway, back to this.
Yeah,
I think this is more about the race. I think that world record is good.
yeah, it's strong. I never really realised that. What was the slowest split just then? 52.3.
52.29.
Yeah, that's quite quick. Since what the fastest time in the world this year,
52.02.
individually is around about that. So you're going to have all four women going quicker than that. Which relay takeovers, obviously that can happen. Molly O'Callaghan can very much go at 51. I think if Shayna Jack can replicate that same sort of swim, going 51, very much can happen.
Yep.
Struggling on the other two, you got Meg Harris, I suppose, who could go at 52.
Bronte Campbell.
Bronte Campbell, she went 53 at trials,
Emma
didn't
McKeon
she?
No, she went 52.9. Oh, yeah, 52.9 at trials.
Yeah, so it's well, that's why it's at the bottom of the list. Can always happen just because relay takers could be the difference. You could take like a 0.4 for the relay takeover just on that alone, potentially.
Okay.
But that's why it's at the bottom of the list, just because the current world record is mental.
Okay, so I said I've got some bones to pick with you, and I said one was the 100 backs too low on this, but I get the logic now we've talked through it. You've left off, I could call you three more. And I would say one of them maybe is stronger than a few of these we've just gone through.
I feel like I know which one it is, and I don't know why I left it off, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Is it the 53?
It is.
Yeah.
Sarah Sjostrom has got to go faster than a 23.6, which she's got incredibly close to this year. Let me just have a look. Her fastest time so far in 2024 is a 23.69. She's 0.08 off it. Dan, it's going. I'm sorry. This is like her sole focus, and this would be an incredible way to end her career if this is the end.
If it's the end, yeah. I mean, she could go on for another couple of years because
She
she's
definitely
so good.
Dan is going. I'm
Do you
sorry.
reckon?
Yeah,
honestly, I don't know why I kind of forgot about this event.
Okay.
Just because the list was getting more and more, and I thought this is crazy. The fact that
And it is crazy, but I'm going through this.
There's 9 events we've just spoken about, and that's without the 53. So if we add the 53, that's 10 events that the women's side
I've
could
got 2
break.
more to throw in.
Yeah, that's like pretty much the entire schedule.
I've got 3 more.
Jeez,
The 100 free, that could be in danger. Siobhan Horhy's 0.3 off it.
Molly O'Callaghan can always threaten
Yeah.
that as well.
That's in danger.
Possibly.
I wouldn't say that's like probable.
I would put that in the outside chances bracket
Sure.
myself. Yeah.
And you've missed Ledecky's 8 and 15.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Was there a reason? Or
No, not really. No,
Okay.
just because it's more of an outside sort of chance. Just because kind of the same sort of thing where she's not going to be challenged. She's going to win the golds. Does she need to go world records? So it's in the same bracket as your Summer McIntosh in the 400 IM, for example. Is she at world record form, do you think?
I think she's there or thereabouts.
She's going faster mid-season than she's ever done, if I'm
Yeah.
correct in saying that. So I suppose that from that logic, she's got a good chance of doing it.
They are fast times. Don't get me wrong. They are
geez, they're ridiculous
incredibly
times.
fast times.
Yeah.
I just would mention them in case she does break them. It's kind of my logic here.
I would add your 53 into the probability order.
Yeah.
But the other 3 I think you've mentioned are, for me, outside chances. I
Outside
could be wrong.
chances,
Someone
sure.
else in the comments let us know whether you think that would be true or not.
Okay, final race where a world record could go is the mixed medley relay. Now, I don't like saying that this could go because the British swim from Tokyo is an all-time great British swim, and I want this on the records for a long time. When you've got Jimmy Guy in there going a 50 flat 100 fly, when you've got Anna Hopkin going 52 flat 100 freestyle, Adam went a 56.7. Wow.
How does it get better than that? When you say all these numbers, you're like, it doesn't get better than that.
Well, we've
surely.
done the maths, and it might be that Gretchen Walsh 100 fly which changes things.
Yeah.
So when you look at Ryan Murphy going a 50, let's give Ryan Murphy a 52.3 for maths' sake.
Right.
Then you've got Adam Peaty 56.7, and I would say for maths' sake, Nick Fink 58.7. So they are 4.5 up seconds on the world record at this point.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Jimmy Guy went a 50 flat. So let's say Gretchen Walsh can go her world record of 55.1.
Yeah. Or flat.
So-
just make it easy. Yeah.
55 flat.
Sure. Just make it
Sure,
easy.
make it easy. So they are now 0.5 over the world record. And Anna Hopkins 52 flat. Could Kate Douglas go a 51.5? Possibly. I'm not saying she can. I would just err in the side of caution, Brits, that this world record is in a little bit of danger.
There's a chance.
There's a
Should we put it
chance.
as that? There's
Yeah.
a chance. I mean, all 4 have to be absolutely firing because luckily for us, on the British point of view, all 4 were firing that day to be able to hit that world record.
Yeah.
I think Gretchen Walsh could be the difference, especially if she is able to go another world record. Well, based on relay takeovers, she'll probably go a 54, I would have thought.
You hope.
From an
actually, no,
American
we don't.
point of view. From an American point of view, yes. So there's a chance, but again, they're all going to have to be firing. And then I don't know if China...
Yeah, I was
have-
just doing the maths in my head here. So China have a 52 flat 100 backstroker this year.
Yes.
They got Ching Haiyang who could match PT's split.
Very
They've
much
got
so.
Zhang Yufei who could go a high 55 at worst case scenario.
Worst case, yes, I say.
And then they've got a freestyler right now who's a 52.6. So you're 0.6 over, you're 5 over. Yeah, it's there
It's
or
close.
thereabouts. It's close.
It's a big race. I'm actually quite excited since you've just gone through the splits. That's a very exciting race.
Yeah, really, as most races are at these Olympic Games.
Oh, honestly, I'm not sure there's too many bad races out there.
No.
Yeah. Will that one go? Is that an outside shot?
It's on my outside list. I think I put it ahead of some of the other ones you've listed.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Or maybe the
Which
ones
one?
I'll tell you what. I think I'd put it above maybe the Ledecky ones that I mentioned.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, so that just about rounds up this week's episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast. I hope we haven't dragged on too long. I actually haven't checked the timer on this week's episode. We could have gone on for ages, but I think we're good. If you've got any comments and discussions you want to add, I'm sure there will be plenty. Put them on the Propulsion Swimming Podcast YouTube channel, where this video will be posted alongside on audio platforms. We will respond to every single comment.
We will.
There we go. We will do that. We will let you know what we think of your world records. Give us your 3 most likely to goes and your 3 wish lists that are outside bets.
So how many world records did we have in the end?
We've got all of swimming, Dan. We've got all of... No, we haven't quite got all of swimming. We've got... Let's go probable ones. We've got 5 men, and we've got probably about...
10.
10
9.
winners.
9 is on that list. Oh, 10 with the 53.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we've got 15 world records, which would be bonkers.
That's insane.
I don't think... We've gone through all of these. We want them all to go. I don't think 15 world records go at an Olympic Games. That would be absurd.
No.
I think 10 is nuts.
Even that is a lot. That sounds like a lot.
We're wishful thinking at this point in time. I'm pretty sure, like I said in the intro, swimmers want gold, not a world record at this point in their season.
Yeah, it's whether they can deal with the pressure, I think, ultimately. That the aim is to win an Olympic medal and not the world record, like you say. Yeah.
Okay, that just about rounds up this week's episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast. If you haven't subscribed already, you know this is the time to do it as our Olympic previews really start rounding into focus. And me and Dan will be back on next week's episode.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.